about that each time. Yeah, they gap down and we're a little bit red. Uh, but to recap, the what I've been looking for is the dip buy. And yeah, I've been long a few times, and I went short, kind of intraday stuff, just kind of trading the futures. But I haven't really planted my feet. I was just thinking, like, hey, we're gonna get a relief rally. This would be a good spot for a relief rally. I think somebody said we're at a 200-day moving average. Let me just add that up here real quick. Let's go. Let's go exponential. Oh, hang on, wrong one. Here we go. Length. Let's go 200. Let's see if we are there. Kind of there. Let's. As far as the daily, okay, so we're at a 200 moving average exponential. Some people that will really matter, and maybe we bounced there. Maybe that's why Friday was a little bit on the green side as far as the S&P goes. But as of now, on Sunday, we did gap down. But coincidentally or not, that's nothing I care about personally. That's just not my style of trading. I don't care what your opinions are on it. But I was thinking, hey, here comes the a leg down, 5% down. This actually S&P went down 7%, but I thought nothing crazy, right? Nothing big. This is actually all par for the course. And I thought we'd see a relief rally, something like we did right here. Like we get the strong red, but then a few green days come and we kind of just do this knockdown, drag out, kind of channel down thing. But we're still trending down. And whatever the excuse is, if we don't get that relief rally tomorrow, then at this point, what we're setting ourselves up for is not a relief rally, but a rip your face off rally. And there is a difference. One's at about like a 45-degree angle. The other one's at like an 18, if that makes sense. One looks a lot more vertical than the other. So, and that's why I put in the title on YouTube is that the volatility might pick up. And I'm not actually talking about the VIX, but I'm talking about when we do just get that overall, we are too stretched. Shorts start taking profit, which is buy side activity. Buyers jump in. But when a bunch of shorts take profit at the same time and buy to close and gap that thing up and send it, to buy the dip crowd, the momentum can really send it. So that's why I think the rally could have been, how can I word this, a lot easier played. We buy the dip, we kind of just give it wiggle room, and we ride this thing up. Now I kind of think we're going to be talking about the trend down, how we should be shorting the pops, and then one day it's just going to be a monstrous green. And someone's going to ask me, is the crash over? Is it all-time highs? And who knows at this point? It just got a lot worse. If we don't see the rally now, I'm telling you, I think that's what's in the cards. Um, what I worry about on YouTube, if you're not part of my community, right, you can always check that. It's the top link, comment down below. If you're on TikTok, there's the link thing. Is it a link tree? My admin, Casey, she's the one that set it up. Uh, it's the TikTok thing. Anyway, you can find it on there. If you're in there, then I talk about everything I do as I'm doing it, right? So I even post all my plays. But on YouTube, what I'm going to end up talking about one day is how I bought the dip and I'm up a whole bunch because I'll likely end up just buying at this zone. It's going to pop up. I'll put my stop in the green. Now, I won't know it's a rip your face off rally or anything like that until it absolutely just sends it and it just doesn't tag me out. So it'll be a coincidence, but it'll likely happen at one of these zones. So watching that, I guess we got to start putting some more down here. All right, let's kick it off like we normally do. Looking at the dollar, kicking off with that, the dollar is selling off. We get the continuation to the south side. Interesting. It's not often, not that there's a correlation factor, but it is weird kind of seeing the dollar and the S&P move together. They're not an inverse of each other, but more likely than not, they do, right? I don't know if you're going long on that, be the knife catch. If you want to go short, it's kind of like shorting the market right now. And the trend is your friend, but you're kind of asking for it. Look at the US dollar, Japanese yen. Still, it just broke that zone, barely hanging out. I know some of us are long the British pound US dollar, and that's working out. But see, that's also right there in the zone. So the last thing I would want to do is go long. Looking at Bitcoin getting worked right now. Get the break speed off, man. That's lower lows. Sucks to suck. The thing is, what it may this is probably going to be its own video at its own time. TikTok, I see the chat kind of rolling. It just tells me that everyone's joining. I want to pay attention to you guys, but it's hard. Um, but anyway, I hear, I see you. Casey's in the house too. Crypto could probably be its own because someone in TikTok. The reason why I even mentioned TikTok was they said the bull run is over, and I think Bitcoin and crypto crap coins will probably trade the same. They're just garbage regardless. There's no real buyers in there. There's snipers. There's people on Facebook. That's why I joke like your wife's boyfriend is the one giving advice on those coins. I mean, if you bought Hawk to a coin, there's just not much I can tell you about anything financially related. We just won't see the same, but there's a lot of validity to Bitcoin now. We got the ETFs, the futures ETFs. We got the U.S. government now. What do we have? 200,000 Bitcoins. They're not using taxpayer dollars for it. They're using it from what they recovered, which is awkward because if you recovered stolen, shouldn't you just give it back? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know about that. But now our government has it. Tesla has some. MicroStrategy, if you want to call that a company, they have it. It's just not the more we creep into the real financial world. And sorry if I'm wording it that weird for you, for the crypto people out there. But I said this a long time ago. It's not going to be your ball game when banks get involved. It's going to be theirs. It's going to look like how they want it to look like. It is not going to be the wild, wild west. So I do think that slows down. And I'm kind of curious as far as the bull run being over. Do we see another? I say this a lot. When Bitcoin drops 85%, that's the I have to buy it now price. If you can get that, because Bitcoin, Ethereum, there's been quite a few times it's crashed 85%, which is why I was so dead set on it dropping into the teens last time. But all it made it to was we drop it to, yeah, the teens. Sorry, I wanted 10,000. We didn't get there. But I'm curious to see if we get another crash like that, because with so many things holding it, what is the new dip buy for Bitcoin? Nvidia going down to 90. Since you don't have a time frame on there, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, not even sarcastically. Before this is over, your favorite stocks that are in your portfolio right now, they're going to get cheaper. What's up, Matt? Chris, how you doing? Steve, Lisa, Lori, Atticus, Grant, what's happening? He says, let's get the show on the road. Let's do it. All right. S&P, we kind of already went over. They did gap down as far as the open goes. And this is pretty typical for a Sunday. A little bit up, a little bit down. The physical color is red only because we opened here and currently are here. If we were green, I'd be the attitude would stay the same, which is why I'm wording it that way. There's just nothing to actually go over. This is pretty typical. I do like going live on Sundays an hour after they open because sometimes you get the massive moves. Now we can gap somewhere. That's cool. But let's everybody get the sleep out of their eyes. Whoever's trading. It's about 6 people in the Tokyo market. But let them do their thing first. Let's see. That's why I like to wait the first hour. So nothing really to report here. We do got a lot of time before market opens. I would expect us, and here's Friday. I mean, Friday we were just zone to zone, yellow box to yellow box. And then here we are. We closed in the top yellow box, gapped to the blue one. I know someone on TikTok said these boxes were meaningless, and it's probably because you just don't know what you're doing. You don't listen or something like that. But, you do you, boo. Just another weird coincidence that's been going on for 13 years. It'll be when that red trend line hits that bright yellow box at 50K. That would be interesting. It would be hard not to buy that at that point, Matt. I know exactly what you're talking about on Bitcoin. Someone's getting emotional. Someone in a chat right now is saying ES is tanking. Did you guys see that little candle turn to like another little candle? On the 1 minute, someone's losing their minds right now. Atticus says, I love these meaningless boxes. Me too. But I do like paying my bills. Contemplating on selling one of my kidneys, buying the upcoming crash. You only get 2 of those things. And I like to keep, I like to have an extra, I think there's other things we can do. You ever mowed some yards? Just kidding. You know how many times I've contemplated opening a yard business, just mowing yards? Because it's just, I would be by myself. I just do things. I do whatever I want. It just kind of sounds cool. I'm gonna leave the house anyway. I might as well just do something. And then it's like the 5 a.m. It's 110 degrees outside. Like that part doesn't sound fun. But I gotta say, man, buying the crashes is when you make the most money. I mean, there's movement, there's stock appreciation, there's just trading in general that makes a lot of money. But buying the real dips, I mean, if you think you're just a super investor buying these dips along a bull market, cool. You saved yourself a few pennies, few pennies, couple bucks per share, and technically that adds up over the years. It does. Nothing to scoff at. But how much work did you do to monitor it, to find it versus you just put it on an automated system? You really want to catch the dips. You buy the big ones, the corrections, the crashes, and that's how you go to sleep nice. That's how you sleep like a baby. That FTX collapse was a golden opportunity. There's an excuse with all of them. There really is. That one wasn't probably just an excuse, but yeah, I love every one of them. It's not like it's going away. The expected moves for everyone that does have my chart, YouTube member, you're part of my community. The one thing that YouTube members do get, like if your name is green on YouTube, then you do get, just go to the community tab and you'll see my chart link. So you'll have all these meaningless yellow boxes. This one has an absolute ton. We got to, sorry. All right, so we again gapped to this weird yellow box that I have bright for a reason. If I do have it bright, that's again what I was talking about in one of my last streams, because we went here. Now these two are brighter for a reason. Just for everyone that is new, I made those brighter long before this happened. And then here we played the back and forth game. So opened up here, closed here, went this high, went this low, almost same thing again, but tagged this one a little bit higher. But then we forgot, hey crap, that's Don's zone. Jump down there, tag the bright yellow one. So we got them all. But anyway, gap down into it. And I did say these are the two zones I would watch out for. Breaking this to the upside would be bullish. Breaking this to the downside would be bearish. And now these are, the yellow is 4 hour or daily. So I am looking at this on a 4 hour daily time frame. There's just a one candle difference there. So I am keeping an eye on that. So it might just be really red tonight and then tomorrow, because this will end tomorrow after hours, right? If this candle it could be bright green, we're good. I don't worry about the wick. The wick is a sign of rejection, a sign of what's to come. It just depends on what echo chamber you're sitting in and who just agrees with you, aimlessly. But I have to pay attention to that, because if we do break that, there is a zone right inside here. We might just make a quick little pop. We might bounce there, make a higher low, or sorry, a lower high, then come back down. But it would be weird to not hit that next yellow zone. If the VIX is at 50 plus, start buying hard, in your opinion? Yeah, probably not a bad time. It's hard though to go off of, to say stuff like that. If you've been in the market for a while, then everything is different every time. That's why there's not indicators that can work. People say my charts are an indicator. That's fine, but I manually do that. That's not an indicator. Is just a math problem. It is code. If you see this, do that, and that's it. So it's hard to say buy when the VIX is here, sell when the VIX is here, go hard here. If you see this, do that, because there is still the human emotion driving a lot of this. This whole system was made to shuffle money around and play like a money version of hungry hippos. You put the little BBs out there. Everyone does it. And then when it's like, oh, there's no more BBs, you start the game over. Everyone puts their money back out there, and we do it again. You just keep score along the way, but the game never ends. But because there's that emotion, there's reports driving it, there's people playing on emotions, there's retail, there's smaller institutions, there's bigger institutions that want to play the game, but it's like a troll. Imagine a 16-foot tall troll trying to play basketball. Yeah, big and clumsy, and would just step on everybody. So you have to be very mindful about how he plays things. I mean, those are the bigger banks in this market. Anyway, that's my disclaimer as far as that goes. Scarlet Games, she sent me a rose. Whole rose. If I could sing, I would even sing that song. All I know is it's in the Batman Forever soundtrack with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was such a good movie when it came out. I tried watching it. I think I made it first few minutes. I was like, well, my childhood's ruined. Anybody else have that effect? Looking at the Grandpa Dow, looks like that's just, I would consider one more buy at this zone, but I would even be curious how much that would hold. Seal Kiss from a Rose. Love that song. Well, do you like it because I mentioned the Batman movie and like some men are running in tights with capes, or like do you like the song? This whole spring forward in hour really messing me up. What really messed me up this time is as far as daylight savings, people really like to complain about it ahead of time. So like you just know, like I don't need to actually look it up or know what it is because I just know everyone's going to complain about it. And then today I didn't even know it until like 1 or 2, and I was like, I knew I felt a little bit tired. I can't wait for them to get rid of that. You know how hard it is on your heart, I guess? Really hard. That and shoveling snow. Maybe shoveling snow after that. I don't know if there's a correlation or if I just read those two things at the same time, but yeah, look it up. It was a fun fact. Oh man, Russell is just, you can tell who didn't have a monster addiction, and it was definitely Russell. I don't know if there's a play here yet for some time. You know, in the economy we're in, as far as small caps goes, as far as the Russell goes, and I've almost contemplated not even breaking down the Russell. And I don't know how many of my followers actually do. I take trades on it here and there, but I mean, if you put the numbers up to how many times I trade the Russell versus the Nasdaq or the S&P, you wouldn't even notice. So actually, let me know in the comments down below, guys. Can I take the Russell off? Because if no one argues that, then I probably will. And I will say there's one thing that I do want to do. I want to pull up the Russell and I want to look over every small cap company that's actually making money because I do think there's an opportunity as far as the Russell goes. It's not the IWM ETF. It's not the Russell futures. In fact, I want to break down the profitable ones. Now, I haven't done it yet, but in my head, I'm thinking that's going to look like the Nasdaq or the S&P. If you guys don't know that reference, the Nasdaq and the S&P, there's only 6 or 7 stocks. I mean, that's the name, the Magnificent Seven. Just those stocks were responsible for 50% of the growth. They're carrying the weight. I think the Russell just reminds me of a snake just kind of half shedding its skin. There's just a lot of dead stuff out there. They can't afford it. They somehow made it to the market, but they you can do okay when the environment's right. You have an incubator. You know everything's being taken care of. It's like little sea turtles. Some of them make it. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that don't make it. You know. Uh, and anyway, what I'm thinking is I'm going to find a handful, and I would rather just buy those. I'm a tech person, so my portfolio might as well be it's basically the Nasdaq 10. That's not like a real thing. It's just that I buy tech stuff. I don't. The Nasdaq has 100 companies in there, and 90 of them I don't know or care about. Uh, and so I kind of want to do that with the Russell, but I need to know: do we get rid of it or not?